What's going on, everybody? You're listening to episode 25 of Trash Year Radio, a quarter of the way to 100 people.
I feel like this is a pretty important milestone.
It is pretty important. It's so important that there's only two of us today. It's just me and the frag master himself, Lucas.
Hello.
Are here today. The tatted man, the cozy man, whatever you want to call him, Shrek. He's on location in Los Angeles trying to find out the latest on the Anthony Davis and LeBron James to the Lakers news.
Yep, so stay tuned next week for some high-end reporting by our man Chance.
Out on the scene, I'm sure he'll come back with some good stories, some good reporting, and everything else that you do or do not want.
Right.
But make sure you subscribe to our YouTube, our podcast on Spotify and Google Play. Just easily click it, subscribe to us, listen to them. You're going to enjoy them. It's that simple, right,
Don't
Lucas?
even listen to them. Just subscribe and turn off your notifications if you don't want. Just give us a subscription.
Well, I mean,
That's
listen to them.
And listen if you want.
We want you to listen.
I'm just saying, if you subscribe, you don't have to do anything. Just click a button. That's it.
Lucas wants your subscription.
That's it.
And then also make sure you follow us on Twitter at Trash Year Sports. I know Chance is tweeting off that fire whenever he can, especially probably in Los Angeles. I'm sure there's some goodies on there. So, but today we're going to talk a little bit. We're going to talk about a BR that Lucas hasn't tried yet, surprisingly. We're going to talk some NBA trade deadline, some NHL trade deadline. But first, some would say the sporting event of the year happened last weekend, the Super Bowl. The New England Patriots and the Los Angeles Rams dueled it out, with the Patriots coming out on top for their 6th Super Bowl win in the past 20 years. Huge. Tying the Pittsburgh Steelers for most Super Bowl wins for a franchise. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick now own that. Lucas, some people say it was a 13-3 score. Good Super Bowl, bad Super Bowl. What was your thoughts on it?
I thoroughly enjoyed the Super Bowl.
You thought it was good?
I thought it was good. It was kind of even great. You know, good defense is really fun to watch. You don't, just because they're not scoring every drive doesn't mean it's a bad football game. There's more to football besides just scoring touchdowns. And the fact that people are so ignorant, they're not even, acknowledging it because they didn't score 40 points each, I think that's annoying as a football fan. I thought it was good. It was a good football game.
Now, see, could I say, though, that offense is more exciting?
It is exciting, but if you also appreciate the sport, you realize that good defense is, it takes a really good defense to shut down a man like Tom Brady and even a young guy like Goff, to show that both of those offenses got shut down. That's how great those defenses were. And the special teams. How many punts were inside the 1 yard line?
Oh my gosh, there were so many.
It was phenomenal.
I felt the Rams kicker had a Super Bowl record, and I think it was a 64-yard punt, I want to say, off the top of my head.
Crazy.
And then, the Patriots kicker, I swear he placed 3 on the 1 yard line. It was crazy how good it is.
And that's a crucial part of the game that no one talks about because it wasn't Tom Brady slugging touchdowns.
See, I liked everyone tweeting, can a punter get a Super Bowl MVP? I would love to see that.
I think it went to the right man.
So we'll get to the Super Bowl MVP here in a second. I thought it was a pretty good game. Looking back on it, I understand why people were very upset, because the way I look at the Super Bowl is it's just kind of it's not meant for hardcore fans. That is for the casuals. There's a reason why there's the halftime show, which we'll talk about here as well. There's a reason why it's this big production. All these companies buy out for all these commercials and stuff like that. There's a reason for that, and that's because it's the most watched thing. A bunch of casual people watch it. So I think for casual people, watching a game like the Rams and the Chiefs had, it was 54 to 51
something
point.
Crazy.
It was something crazy like that. That would have been way more exciting. But I thought this one was actually a great game. Bill Belichick's game plan against the Rams was crazy. Tom Brady, the whole time I knew Tom Brady was going to win. It's you just know. And, he looked horrible. His first pass that he threw was an interception. He looked bad, but then it's then he came back in the second half and then in the fourth quarter let him down to get that touchdown.
Yeah.
He threw that one pass to Gronk, which Gronk came out of nowhere, caught that, And, I mean, that was pretty much the game right there. So I think it was actually – I don't think it was one of the best Super Bowls, but I don't think it was one of the worst.
Far. I'm just saying it wasn't terrible.
No, I'm in the position that it was not a terrible Super Bowl.
And I like the fact the whole Super Bowl thing is Tom Brady and Belichick. The whole NFL is Tom Brady and Belichick. This Super Bowl proved that it wasn't just Tom Brady. This was a lot, maybe even 80% Belichick. He found a way to shut down the best players on both sides of the ball. Aaron Donald, barely saw him.
I think Aaron Donald got one sack, I want to say, against Tom Brady. But it was in the first quarter.
If that. And then Goff, god-awful game. And you can contribute that heavily to the defense and the pressure that Belichick assigned to that defense. So I think Belichick's a phenomenal coach, and this shows it. And that's a underlying thing of football that people aren't going to realize because they didn't put up 40 points. So, like you said, it's not as exciting, but they still won.
See, I think this showed that it's been a 50-50. I think this shows that just by the luck of both Brady and Belichick, they were perfect for each other. It was kind of like Greg Popovich and Tim Duncan. Greg Popovich, Coach Belichick, they want to coach in a certain way. Iron fist kinda. This is how we do it. This is the Patriots way. This is the Spurs way. But it gets results done. And whenever your best player, your superstar, your 1 in a billion player buys into that and allows you to yell at him, chew him out, all that type of stuff, I think that sets you up so much for success. And that just shows how much, both of them can go together. Because I don't think it's one of those things where if Brady didn't have Belichick, Brady would still probably be a Super Bowl champion. Would he be a 6-time Super Bowl champion? Probably not. Same with Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick would probably still be a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah.
Maybe not a 6-time Super Bowl champion. And I think, this game really showed how much Bill Belichick is still a defensive-minded coach. I know he didn't call all the defensive plays, but that team was prepared 110%.
Yeah.
There was no play in which I saw, except for I think maybe one or two throws where a Rams receiver was open, like that one where Cook was in the back of the end zone.
He dropped 2 in the end zone.
Yeah, which Jared Goff, the first one Jared Goff missed and then saw him last minute, and that the linebacker for the Patriots made a great play to break that up because that would have been a touchdown. And then the one where Goff, I think, actually threw a pretty good ball, and it hit Cook right in the chest arm area, and it just popped right out. Which you need to haul that one in, but.
And a lot of this isn't even the Patriots played good. The Rams played bad. They played really bad. Goff had a bad game. I think the pressure really got to him, and I've been saying this all year, that veterans have such an advantage over rookie quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
If that would have been any other quarterback against Tom Brady played like trash. And the whole team pretty much played like trash. If that would have been any other team to take advantage of the Patriots playing the way they did, the Patriots would have lost.
Mm-hmm.
So just the Rams played awful at the worst time because the Patriots also played awful.
I think it was – I've never seen blitzing that was so effective. It seemed like every play there was someone hitting Goff, around Goff, charging Goff. So I think it's a mixture of – I think, yes, Goff's inexperience definitely showed through, but I think it was also – his offensive line did not help him one bit at all. I mean, there was numerous times where I saw him just take huge hit after huge hit, which as a young quarterback, even as a quarterback in general, to get hit like that nonstop, it doesn't feel good,
Yeah, the Patriots defense played great. And like I was saying, Tom Brady didn't throw any touchdowns. He threw an interception and he fumbled the ball. Mm-hmm. Imagine if any other quarterback could have got the situation to go against Tom Brady like that.
Imagine if the Saints were there.
Saints or Matt Ryan when he lost, or Russell Wilson when he lost. Imagine if Tom Brady played like that in those games.
Oh, then it'd be totally different.
So it was just bad by Goff. And that interception to close out the game was just terrible.
It's terrible. That's always the worst. It's one of those ones where you're coming back, the Rams, they had momentum, you're thinking, this might go into overtime. Everyone might get free chicken wings from Buffalo Wild Wings for, did you see that promotion going on?
Is that a thing?
There was I think Pat McAfee was doing a promotion. I thought it was with Buffalo Wild Wings, where if the Super Bowl goes into overtime, they were giving a free promotion, you come in this day and you get free chicken wings or something like that.
It's pretty sick.
I was hoping, Lucas. I was really looking forward to that. Not gonna lie.
I love B-dubs.
Oh,
I want to go back.
Who doesn't? So it was one of those things where you're looking at it, and then it was just like he just threw up that one, which it kind of reminded me of whenever Tom Brady did it in Pittsburgh. It's just like he threw up this like lollipop, and it just so happened to get intercepted. So I don't know. Do you think the Rams will be back?
I don't. It's so hard to tell. Like, they're not going to get worse. I mean, not much worse, but I don't think they're going to get any better.
Who do you think is more likely to go back, Patriots or Rams?
Patriots.
Even with the Chiefs right around the corner?
Yeah, they were here this year, and look what happened. Like, you can't, as long as Tom Brady and Belichick are still together,
You just can't
which
say
they
no.
are coming back again, you can't say anything. You'll have Brady and Belichick, like I said, Edelman, MVP, Gronk probably not, but they proved they don't need Gronk. They can find anybody they want, and it'll fit into their system.
Well, so Gronk made two pretty critical. I thought on that last drive, that touchdown drive, I thought Gronk played a pretty important role on that.
Yeah, he definitely. They use him sparingly now, and whenever they do use him, it's at crucial points. But I still think they can win without him.
Mm-hmm. And now, so let's talk about the Super Bowl MVP. So it went to Edelman, who, let me look up the stats real quick. He had, let's see, Edelman had 10 receptions, 141 yards on the day. You think he deserved the MVP?
I mean, no one else does.
You don't think a defensive player deserved MVP?
No one stood out. Like, everyone on both defenses played equally the same, equally as bad. Both offenses were atrocious. Tom Brady doesn't deserve it. He had an interception, fumble, no touchdowns. I mean, Edelman didn't have any touchdowns either, but he was the only consistent player on both teams.
See, here's I have no problem with Edelman getting the Super Bowl MVP. No problem. But I feel like it should have gone to a defensive player. I felt like
Who stood out though that was MVP worthy?
Probably Stephon Gilmore. Stephon Gilmore, who had the interception, the game-winning interception, pretty much. He had 5 tackles. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like you only scored 13 points, and one of the highest scoring teams ever was held to 3 points. I just think it's. I agree. Brady did not deserve MVP. He did not play like an MVP. If he would have got MVP, it would have been just a joke.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have no problem with Edelman getting it because in the first half, Edelman was a monster. Literally, no one could cover him. He was open.
It's amazing
every
how
play.
open he always is. It's crazy. He was undrafted. Like, no one wanted him.
He was a quarterback in college.
Yeah. He fits the system very well, and him and Tom Brady play great.
And I just can't. Every single time I watch Edelman just get hit, it's like I swear, each hit is harder and harder, and he just pops right back up.
Yeah, he's a tank.
So I give him credit. Another thing, we talked about how Edelman, at least in our group meet, we said Edelman is a future Hall of Famer.
I don't think he is.
Yeah, I backtrack on that. That was a in-the-moment kind of deal. Edelman's a Hall of Famer. He's not a Hall of Famer.
No,
I've thought
no
about
way.
it.
He has like half the stats as Hines Ward, and Hines Ward is not a Hall of Fame.
And he's had 0 Pro Bowls. He's not going in the Hall of Fame.
there's
I
no
thought
way.
about it. The case you can make is that he's, a 3-time champion, Super Bowl MVP.
That's it.
And that's it. So I don't think so. Some people could argue it, but it's not going to happen. Now, from the Rams side, let's look at the Rams because they were the losing team. Did McVay lose his shine as a great head coach? As everyone who's hiring a new coach is looking for the next Sean McVay, did he himself lose his shine after this?
I don't think so, because what he accomplished as is just amazing. I think the fact that he got to the Super Bowl was like the peak. If he won it, amazing. If he lost, he still got there. Like, he still was there with a second-year quarterback, the youngest one to ever make the Super Bowl. Obviously, if he would have won, it would have been better for him, but I think he's still going to be acknowledged as one of the best coaches in the league.
Now, do you think it has any... I mean, he even came out after the game and said, I was completely outcoached by Bill Belichick, which I understand is...
He's twice his age. Like, literally, I'm pretty sure he's twice his age.
That and also Bill
close.
Belichick is arguably, if not unanimously, the best NFL head coach ever.
Yeah, so I don't care how good of a coach you are. If you don't have 9 Super Bowls under your belt, you're not going to do good as someone who does. Do as good as someone who does.
So I know a lot of people were saying that he didn't really make any adjustments, it seemed like.
Yeah, it felt like the same game. I mean, both sides. It just felt like the same thing every single drive.
And I don't understand why. It seemed like they were they couldn't they couldn't run the ball. Like they just wouldn't run it. You have Todd Gurley, which everyone's now starting to wonder what's wrong with Todd Gurley.
Has to be an injury or something because he barely played.
Yeah, but he even came out and said, "I'm not injured." Yeah, Todd Gurley had 10 carries for 35 yards.
Yeah, and who knows if you would have gave him another 10, maybe he would have broke one out for 50 yards or something.
Well, I just don't get it. I don't understand why you wouldn't at least try because the Rams, their main way of attacking is a run-pass option, and you just completely drop the run.
And it's definitely part of the inexperience of the coaching staff. It has to be.
Now, do you think, in the same light, Goff has lost some of his shine?
Nah, he's just going to get better. There's no reason to think he's going to decline in his second year. He got to Super Bowl in his second year.
I think it's third year.
Well, whatever, same thing.
But still, because he had that 1 year of Fisher where he went like 0-7 or whatever, and it was a joke. Yeah, I think obviously the Rams have lost some of their shine because of how poorly they did. But I think it's also one of those things where you're going up against the best quarterback ever, the best coach ever, the most seasoned franchise at this point for this, past, decade. They're so used to being
years.
there. Yeah, they're so used to being there and so used to performing that how do you not expect them to outperform? So I think people who are thinking, oh, the Rams aren't as good anymore, clearly a joke. I think you should pump the brakes. I think it's clearly a showing of they're so young in age. I think Sean McVay's like 33. Goff is probably like 24 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like they're so young. How do you
like
expect
60 fucking years old? 66, I think.
And Brady's like 41 years old. Like how do you expect them? The quarterback is older than the coach. Like what do you expect to happen there? So I just think people should pump the brakes a bit on that. Now let's get into the serious topic here, Lucas. The halftime show. Good or bad?
Awful.
Awful. You're not a Maroon 5 guy?
No one is.
Dude, I don't mind Maroon 5. It's not bad.
No one likes them. And regardless if you do or not, they didn't play well. Adam Levine didn't sound good live. Their stage show was boring. I just thought it was just awful.
We're not a fan. What about whenever Travis Scott came on with who's the other one that came on?
Big Boy or something?
Big Boy, something like that, yeah.
Well, it was a joke because for weeks they're teasing we're going to have SpongeBob in the Super Bowl. We're going to have the halftime show like featuring SpongeBob and Squidward, and everyone loves the Sweet Victory song. That's the only reason why probably half the people watch the halftime show, myself included, because I thought they were going to do something like live with that song. But they just used like an intro of Squidward saying, and now someone, whatever. And then it started to play the Sweet Victory song, and it transitioned into fucking sicko mode, and Travis Scott comes out of the sky. It just ruined it.
You weren't a fan?
No. And Sicko Mode's an overrated song. Travis Scott's overrated.
Dude, you can't say Sicko Mode's overrated.
It is.
It is a good song.
No, it's not.
Okay, now, I went to Travis Scott concert live. I see why now the music was so extremely loud. Because him performing with not overly loud music was horrible. That was not enjoyable at all.
You can't have people like that style at a Super Bowl show. Like, you need singers.
Well, do you think it came to the fact that no one wanted to do the Super Bowl? Because I feel like they tried to get a bunch of people, and all of them said no.
I heard, like, one person saying no, and that was Cardi B. Like, who fuck cares about Cardi B?
Everyone cares.
It's not like
about
they try to
Cardi
get,
B.
like, the Rolling Stones or, like, Metallica or, like, a band. They tried a couple other rappers.
Yeah, but you want to. I feel like they always try to go with someone more. I don't want to say that obviously, like Metallica isn't popular or anything like that. But
I know, yeah,
more
exactly.
Mainstream popular.
That's for sure why, but it sucks because they can't perform live. Like Justin Timberlake did amazing, Lady Gaga did amazing. Those are just like two of the recent ones I can remember.
I like to see Justin Timberlake again. That'd be one for the ages.
Like there's just so many other better ways to do it.
If you could pick an ideal performer, who is it?
I don't know.
Well, if you had to pick 3 artists, who are they?
Oh, fuck, man. Not even just being biased towards like hard rock and metal, Metallica would be the perfect halftime show. Everyone likes Metallica. Everyone knows at least one song.
Okay, yeah, probably. I'm sure if I heard them. Yeah.
And they only play like a minute of a few songs. You can easily do that with a bunch of Metallica songs. Mm-hmm. And their stage show would be phenomenal, and they know how to play instruments. I'm pretty sure everyone on Maroon 5 like fake played. I don't think anyone actually played their instruments on stage.
I bet you
it didn't line up sometimes.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, you're out there, and it's mainly it's not for the actual performance.
But it's a joke. and
It's
it
for the
didn't
looking
sound good. I don't fucking know.
Dude, mine's the hologram of Michael Jackson, the hologram of Tupac, and then some other rapper from like the 90s. That right there, the perfect trifecta.
You just need stage shows, and Maroon 5, they can't put on a stage show. Travis Scott can't do like a stage show.
The Muse,
like,
that's who you need.
The Muse would be sick.
Because they always put on a good stage
exactly.
show.
That's what you need. You need entertainment, not just popularity.
All right, Lucas, the second biggest thing, the commercials. Any of them stick in your head? Any of them impress you?
Not really.
Very, very down year for commercials.
I don't even think about that. I just wasn't really paying attention. Like
You weren't paying attention to the commercials.
Not like more than I should have, I guess.
See, here's the thing about the
I think it's just because we got older. Like, why the fuck do we care about commercials? I remember when I was younger, like, yeah, look at all these funny commercials.
But none of them were funny this year.
Because we're older.
I still, even so, like...
That's what I think.
I like, there's... now, I mean, good marketing on their behalf because I remember it, but I remember it because it was stupid. It was a Burger King commercial where they just had some weird dude sitting there eating a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And it was extremely uncomfortable and awkward.
It was super weird.
Yeah, and they were like, don't eat like this guy. And it's like...
But you remembered it. So
yeah,
it worked.
But I hate Burger King.
The
And
NFL...
I even hate Burger King even more. The NFL had the best commercial.
Yeah, I was going to say, that
they
commercial
had the
was
best
dope.
Commercial.
It had Ninja and Tim the Tatman in it, which is pretty cool. I don't know. The Bud Light one that featured Game of Thrones is pretty sick.
Is that the one where it was them taking that corn syrup around? Is that the one?
The one I saw was like the Bud Light Night. They've been using that for like years as their new guy. But then all of a sudden this dragon comes and a dude from Game of Thrones comes out and kills that night.
Okay, maybe
which is a cool crossover.
I remember seeing it was a Bud Light commercial where it was them. They got a giant barrel, medieval times. They got a giant barrel of cornstarch or corn syrup delivered, and they were, trying to take it back to Coors Light and to...
No, I didn't see that one.
Someone else. And that was kind of enjoyable. Like, ones that actually, like... I don't mind a good minute commercial if it's well thought out. Like, that one was good. Like, I remember that one.
And, I remember making it a point to never miss commercials. Like, when you're younger, like, I can't even go get more food. I can't go to the restroom because I'm going to miss some cool commercials. I would just sit on my phone the whole time.
See, I thought I did that this year. I was like...
You were actually...
I was like, let me check my phone. I'm like, wait a minute. I want to watch these commercials.
Nah, yeah,
I
wasn't
can't. I
paying
put my
attention.
phone down.
I was on my phone and probably baked.
So it was very like I don't know what to do here because it's like, what the hell?
I don't know. I mean, were there even any Doritos commercials? I remember those were always the best ones.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if I can remember Doritos commercial. I'm sure there probably is a Doritos commercial, but you can't remember it.
The Pepsi ones with Steve Carell weren't bad. They had like also Cardi B in them.
Oh yeah, those ones weren't too bad. Yeah. But I'm saying like that's the problem is, I don't think. Now, do you think it's because no one wants to take a risk on commercials?
I think also the fact that advertisers know that people don't give a shit about Super Bowl anymore. It was like the lowest rated one ever, or since the Giants beat the Patriots for the first time. Mm-hmm. That was the lowest rated Super Bowl, or viewed Super Bowl, I guess. So why are you going to spend? Because it probably cost $100 million to get a 30-second TV spot during the commercial.
I don't think it costs that much.
Look it up. It has to be. I'm saying at least $50 million.
I think you're way high on that.
Well, anyway, if these companies know people aren't going to watch them, people don't give a shit about commercials anymore, why even do it?
I don't know, because I feel like if you hit that one gold, like that one golden commercial, you're primo. Like Xbox had a good commercial, I thought. The one where it was like, the handicap kid.
Yeah, that was a really good commercial.
But it was, I mean, obviously that isn't a funny commercial. I think it's a good, wholehearted, like, oh, that's a good
and it shows off their product really well.
Yeah, because it's like now people look at that and
so I'm just saying maybe people like don't even want to bother.
Let's see. For local, what the hell? Give me a second here. No, I think this is for like a local TV. Okay. 30-second. Okay. The highest cost placements for the Super Bowl ads can go upwards of $4 million.
Jesus Christ.
So you were way off.
There's
on
no
that
way.
Lucas, I'm looking at...
$4 million's nothing to big companies.
But for a 30-second ad, Lucas, that's a big amount.
But for a big company, it's worth like $1 billion.
I'm just saying. It's just like this Super Bowl left me. The game itself, it was a good game, but it still kind of felt like this whole Super Bowl experience was just lacking to me overall. I don't know. Like, I still watched the whole thing. I still enjoyed it. but I can't even think of like a memorable. I can't think of a memorable commercial. I can't think of a memorable play. I can't think of anything memorable about this game that I might not forget. Like, I mean, I'll remember it now, but in 6 months from now, I'm not gonna remember any of it.
Just happens, man.
It's just upsetting.
Just happens.
Very upsetting. All right, Lucas. Last thing, who's your early Super Bowl picks for next year? If you had to pick 2 teams right now.
You gotta count the Chiefs. You only know Pat Mahomes gonna come back just as strong, if not stronger.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta count the Pats because you have to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the AFC's pretty much trash. Besides that, NFC, I could see it being the same fucking 4 teams in the championships.
Well, okay, but if you had to pick 2 next year's Super Bowl, who is it?
Pats versus, I don't even know, like, fucking Saints. Why not?
I'm going Chiefs Seahawks right now.
Okay.
Calling it. Or Chiefs Cowboys. As much as that hurts me to say,
Okay.
Chief Cowboys. You just wait. Calling it. All right, Lucas. You want to talk to us about some hockey? There's some trades going on. I know that. Some dude got some contract.
All right, so big news for the Pens. We traded our dead weight Derek Brassard and Riley Shahan, second-round pick and a fourth-round pick, which belongs to Minnesota. We got in exchange Nick Bjugstad and Jared McCann from Florida Panthers.
Whew.
So they're both Bjugstad and McCann. They're both first-round picks in their respected years. I'm pretty sure Brassard and Shahan were also first-round picks. I mean, it's pretty much a even like 1-for-1 or 2-for-2 trade, I guess. But a change of scenery for Bjugstad and McCann, playing with players like Pittsburgh players, it should be good for them. And Derek Brassard is probably better than Bjugstad, but it just never worked out in Pittsburgh. He has a mentality that he's a second-line center, and whenever he tried to play on third-line center, it just never worked out. And he even came out in an interview recently saying that there's so much more relief, like he feels so relieved now that he's away from Pittsburgh for some reason.
Do you think it's because of the pressure, maybe?
But he expected like top line minutes, and he's a center, and 2 centers in front of him are Malkin and Crosby. Like, you're never gonna get more minutes than those guys,
And especially in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and third line centers are usually they're more physical. They just check. We don't really like expect too many points out of them. But Derek Brassard, he is a point guy. Like, if he plays on any other team, he's usually a second line center, and he could score 60 points, which is a lot for a third line center. So he couldn't get that past his head to play offense on a third line like role. It was just in his head the whole time. And he played with a player like Phil Kessel, probably like 90% of his career in Pittsburgh, and you're never going to play with another winger as good as Phil Kessel.
Especially on the third line.
Exactly. So it's just very weird.
So now, do you think he was in the wrong, kind of in the wrong position, like he should have been a second liner, but obviously in Pittsburgh he can't be?
Yeah.
So do you think it's just because he's going to the Panthers now he'll be able to kind of get those minutes and get the
Well,
shots?
he's playing winger in Florida.
Oh, so he's
but they're not going to keep him. They're going to ditch him for the deadline. Because they're
trade
clearing
him
cap
again?
space. Yeah, they're clearing cap. They're gonna get. They're gonna try for a couple big names, but it's just weird how it never worked out. If it would have worked out, Brassard would have played as he expected. It would have been phenomenal, but
It
just
would've been
unfortunately never worked out. Bjugstad, he's like a maybe 40-point guy, 50-point guy max. I think he has over 20 something this year so far, but he's got several inches on Brassard. He's 6'6", I think. Solid guy, really good player. They're young. They're signed for a couple more years, him and McCann.
Are they good contracts or bad contracts?
They're not bad.
Are they friendly, I guess?
Yeah, they're
contracts?
doable. Brassard, he was due for a contract this year, so that's why we wanted to dump him, because we're not going to keep him because he didn't perform.
So we were just going to let him walk anyway.
Yeah, so luckily we got rid of that. Shahan never, he scored 1 goal in 1 year in Detroit, and then we brought him in. He scores a couple here and there. He was a okay fourth-line center, but McCann, he's only 21. Shahan's up in his 20s. I mean, it's a good trade for Pittsburgh.
So you're happy with the trade?
Yeah, hopefully it works out.
Now, what about those picks? Are you upset that we had to give up the picks, or do you think it's worth it?
Not really. We haven't had shit for picks all year. Not all year, like for years. Just because we always are in contention, so we always trade away our picks so we can get players to make runs.
Mm-hmm.
So we never really have picks.
So it's just kind of one of those things where it's just kind of
Yeah.
in the contending territory of business. If you're contending for titles, you don't care about your picks.
Yeah, right. And we have a few more picks this year coming up because of just some recent trades and stuff. So giving one away is not too bad.
Mm-hmm. So did they already played though, right? Did they do good?
Yeah, they played 3 games.
Have they been
A couple
good so
assists
far?
for Bukestad. McCann had a really good chance last night against Carolina, but no goals yet. Still early. They came in, was that Wednesday night, I think, was their first night in Pittsburgh. They showed up at the rink like 11 minutes before puck drop.
That's crazy.
The very first time they ever stepped into that locker room was 11 minutes before puck drop.
And I'm sure everyone was already. Was it people? Even,
Yeah,
people
they
were probably already on the ice.
I'm pretty
weren't
sure they came in like during the national anthem. But like, yeah, they had a police escort from the fucking airport. It was pretty sick, and they just jumped right in and played.
Could you imagine that?
That's crazy.
Like just going in, because I heard stories that they were like stretching on the plane and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're stretching on a plane. They're fucking like running down the locker room, like drinking Red Bull. It was a funny like clip, but yeah, hopefully it works out.
Hopefully that. Now, where are the Pens at standing wise?
We are behind Islanders, Capitals, only by like we've been on a kind of a skid lately. We're still only a few points back from first place.
Okay.
It's still anyone's game. We lost a crucial Metro Division game last night against Carolina, and they're sniffing our ass too in the standings. Still plenty of hockey left, but if it keeps up, there's going to be more moves made probably.
Do you think? When's the trading deadline for?
24th, I believe, of this
February.
month. Yeah.
Now, is that before or after the All-Star break already happened?
Yeah.
So it's after that. Very cool. Very cool. Any other hockey news you want to?
Austin Matthews got a big ticket, 5 years, I think average annual like 10.6 or something. Huge for him.
Wow.
He's a once in a lifetime player.
What player or what team does he play for?
Toronto
Toronto
Maple
Leafs.
Yeah.
Huge contract, locked him up.
So one thing I was surprised is normally players get big years. He only got 5 years, so he's still going to be well in his prime whenever that 5 years up. So he's going to get even a bigger ticket whenever that is up.
So now, do you think he'll re-sign with the Maple Leafs, or do you think he'll go somewhere else?
It's way too early to tell because they're in such a tight cap space with the players they have now. They signed John Tavares for a long-term, another 10-plus mil contract. They got Mitch Marner. He's almost just as good as Matthews. They got to sign him. They just signed this guy William Nylander for way more than he should have got. So that's going to put a tamper on their cap hit. But
Now, in hockey, do people normally tend to sign longer contracts, like 5+ years?
only like superstars.
So like Crosby, Malkin.
Yeah, if you're a big name and like the franchise knows that, then you're gonna get signed for long term. But normal contracts are a few years.
Okay. I wasn't sure if there was. I know in the NBA, you can only do 4 years at a time.
No, you can do
That's
more
max.
than 4, but
Well,
4.
five sometimes.
Yeah,
but-
4 is like an average
Okay.
usually. Maybe
I'm-
less.
I'm just trying to learn the game right now. I'm trying to
No,
learn
that's
the
good. That's good.
finances. So I'm trying to get there for you. Maybe I'll watch a game sometime.
Maybe.
Actually, besides going to one. All right, Lucas. Is that all your NHL news?
Yeah, that's about it.
I'll tell you what. The NBA, it's popping, man. Trade deadline's tomorrow, but whenever this podcast come out, it would have been yesterday. Trade deadline's over with. Moves were made. Teams are selling out. Teams are selling. Teams are buying. People are on the move. I'm gonna go over a couple of trades. First one is the Cleveland Cavaliers sent Rodney Hood to the Portland Trail Blazers. Not a big deal. Cleveland got back 2 second-round picks and 2 players on expiring contracts. And the Portland Trail Blazers got Rodney Hood for a postseason push. Breaking just right now as this podcast is being done, the Miami Heat and the Phoenix Suns have agreed to trade Ryan Anderson will be going to the Heat for Tyler Johnson and Wayne Ellington. Very meh kind of trade. It just happens.
Aren't both those teams like the worst in the league? I know the Suns are.
Phoenix is one of the worst teams. Miami, it's kind of like Miami's at that point where they're going to be going downhill quickly. But the problem is like They were like 2 stars away from being a legit team, but they kind of screwed themselves on cap. They signed bad people to longer contracts, which is the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
I'm in the belief that it's better to not sign a player than sign a player to a bad contract. But the big trade that has happened as of now is Tobias Harris has gone to Philadelphia 76ers. That trade takes Tobias Harris, Boban Marjanovic, and Mike Scott to Philadelphia for Landry Shamet, Wilson Chandler, Mike Muscala, and then the Clippers also receive 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks. The 2 first-round picks is the Philadelphia 2020 first-round pick, which probably won't be much of anything. It'll probably be very high. But the important one is the 2021 first-round Miami pick, which is unprotected. And so, like I just said, Miami is kind of at that spot where they're just about to kind of have to hit a hard reset. And so that is huge because in 2 years that could possibly be a top 5 overall pick. And also with this deal, the Clippers have opened up 2 max salary spots for this year's free agency, which is huge because they're in the Los Angeles market. Some players don't want to play with LeBron. Some players do. So if you want to go to LA, which is a huge market, and you don't want to play with LeBron, if you're Kevin Durant, if you're Kyrie Irving, if you're Kawhi Leonard, you can go there with another superstar and probably be competing for championships. For Philadelphia, this is important because you have Ben Simmons, you have Joel Embiid, your 2 franchise cornerstone players. You traded for Jimmy Butler at the beginning of the year, towards the beginning. And Jimmy Butler has kind of seemed to be iffy so far. It seems like he's very hit or miss in the locker room, and they're not sure if he's going to stay. So they're actually afraid that he might take off. But Tobias Harris is actually a great player. Probably could have been an all-star this year. Probably not. He wasn't an all-star this year, but he's very close. Very good player. And the big thing is he is probably okay with taking the 3rd role. So a lot of players, you just got to know your role. Clearly, Embiid's the number 1. Ben Simmons is the number 2. Jimmy Butler wants to be the 1, but he's not on that team. And I think it also the fact that he's a younger. All the players above him are younger. Tobias Harris will fit right in there. And this also gives leverage to both Tobias and Jimmy Butler because you can say, hey, if you don't want to take this contract, we'll just give the money to the other player. And the rumor is that Philadelphia is starting to budget already to keep all 4, so they're going to have a huge 4 together. All 4 players are probably all-stars in the East, for sure. I know Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid's a starter this year. Ben Simmons is a reserve this year. Jimmy Butler should have been. He's probably the biggest snub for the all-star. And if Tobias Harris had the same season he had this year in the East as opposed to in the West, he definitely would have been an all-star. So, pretty exciting stuff. The big thing that everyone's still looking at, though, is Anthony Davis to the Lakers. The Lakers have thrown everything, and the Pelicans still won't budge.
Why won't they just accept it? Because they know AD's going to walk away.
Well, so here's the thing, which you can kind of get it on this a little bit, Lucas. If you're a GM and you know you're about to lose maybe like the 3rd best player in the league, suppose like Crosby's about to walk out on you. Crosby comes to you and says, "I'm done. I want out. I want to go to the what's the LA team? The Kings?
Kings.
I want to go to the Kings." Everyone knows. Maybe he didn't come out and say I want to go to the Kings, but everyone knows he wants to go to the Kings. And then you're like, but Crosby's like, "Oh, I'll also go to Columbus. I'll go to Boston. I'll go to the Panthers, and I'll also go to the Kings." Would you really want to trade him to the Kings then? Suppose the Kings have a bunch of like C plus B players who are younger. Would you trade them?
But if you don't trade them, then you're going to get nothing for them.
Well, so now here's the other thing. Now suppose maybe what's like no, not the Flyers. What's like another team?
Jets.
Okay, suppose the Jets. Okay, they have this great young player.
Yeah.
Okay, and they're like, hey, if you wait, we'll trade you that great young player and maybe a little better package.
Is someone doing that for AD?
So the Celtics. The 2 favorites are the Celtics and the Lakers. The Celtics cannot trade for Anthony Davis because they have Kyrie Irving. There's something in the rules where you cannot trade for 2 players who signed their rookie max extension. Something in the rules. I don't understand it. So the Celtics want the Pelicans to wait until the summer so then they can bid on Anthony Davis. The Celtics have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, a bunch of picks coming up this year. One will probably be pretty good. A couple of them might be okay, very mid-round. So it's one of those things where the Lakers are pretty much saying, you can have everything. You can have everything we have that isn't LeBron James. We'll give you Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, Josh Hart. I can't think of the center's name right now. We'll give you 2 picks. Hell, you can even take Magic Johnson's statue outside if you want it. And the Pelicans are like, we need more. So, which is smart for them because if you're the Pelicans, you have him under contract for a year and a half. People are going to want Anthony Davis. Like, people would want Crosby. No matter what, people would want Crosby. Crosby in his prime. People would want Crosby in his prime, no matter what, regardless, correct?
Right.
So it's one of those things where they're just waiting to see how good of a deal it can be.
What if they miss it?
So, see, that's where my thought is. You know what the Lakers are offering you right now is good. They're going to offer you that. And in the summer, they've reported, hey, we're not going to do any better than this right here. Like, we will actually get less. And they keep saying, oh, well, the Celtics can trade in. But the big thing is Kyrie Irving will be a free agent. And he has been coming out saying some things that he might not re-sign. So if Kyrie leaves, your best player is now Jason Tatum, a good young asset, and your team dynamic completely changes. So if you're in New Orleans, what happens if you wait till the summer and then the Celtics are like, yeah, we're not actually going to trade you all that. We've decided to change it up. We're kind of in this really good rebuild mode. Not rebuild, but we kind of need those draft picks for players. And then you go to the Lakers, you're like, okay, LA, let's do a deal here. And LA's like, you know what?
Yeah, we'll give you Lonzo Ball. That's it.
Well, maybe it might be because they were also offering cap relief for the Pelicans, and now they might not be like, you know what? We'll give you the 4 players and we'll give you 1 pick, but we're not going to take any cap relief. So if you're now the Pelicans, you just took a shittier deal because you waited. So I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50. I see both sides. So that's kind of the big thing right now.
Well, I don't get why. So someone like Kyrie, a great player, he's in a good market like Boston.
Boston's a great market.
Are competitive.
Great team, yes.
Why don't you just fucking stay there?
I think so. This is actually what I think would happen. The worst thing that could have happened to Kyrie and the Celtics is Kyrie got injured and the Celtics got to a Game 7 Eastern Conference Finals without him and Gordon Hayward. So that's a big problem.
So that means whenever he's not injured, they could do even better.
They should be, in theory. The Celtics, I'm pretty sure, are sitting either 4 or 5 right now in the East.
I looked a couple days ago; they were like 5th.
They have not looked nearly as good as they had last year. Roles are a lot different. People are playing a lot, kind of not. I don't want to say a lot worse, but worse than what they were last year. And so it's just one of those things where Kyrie left LeBron James because he wanted to be the leader of a team. He wanted this to be his team. This is my team, no one else. Well, the problem is whenever you're injured and the young players, the young stars, ball out and almost go to the finals by themselves. I mean, they were literally 1 game away from the finals without Kyrie Irving. And then they come back and, oh, now we're in 4th place. So then it kind of makes Kyrie, I don't want to say Kyrie look bad because Kyrie's still a phenomenal player. He's still a champion. So Kyrie might look to go somewhere else. And he even came out saying, you know, people have asked him, like, Kyrie, are you still committed to the Celtics? And he came out and said, you know, ask me July 1st, which is whenever he could sign a deal. And then he said, you know, I don't owe anybody shit. He literally came out and said that. I don't owe anybody shit. Because they asked, like, oh, don't you feel like you owe the Celtics something? And he said, I don't owe anybody shit, which is true. Because it's not like he chose to sign it. He got traded there. But a lot of rumors is he wants to go to New York because that's where he's from. Maybe possibly hook back up with LeBron in LA. Who the hell knows? So it's just this big clusterfuck of unknowns. Who do you trust? Who don't you trust? And the Boston's GM, Danny Ainge, best GM in the league by far. He does not lose trades. You know how the Nets have been so bad and how like the Nets didn't have any picks or anything like that? That's because Danny Ainge fucked them over. That's what happened. Like Danny Ainge got that from them. So it's one of those things where you if you're the Pelicans, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Because a lot of people, which is the other thing I don't understand. A lot of leagues officials, like other GMs, have been telling him, don't trade to Lakers, you'll get fired. And it's like, how is that? People got pissed because LeBron said that he'd like to play with Anthony Davis.
Yep.
But yet other GMs can say, don't trade to that team. And yet that's like not tampering. That's perfectly okay. So I just think it's bullshit. But once again, now the Lakers are kind of fucked because they pretty much tried to trade all their young players. They're not going to trade their young players because the Pelicans won't accept the offer. And it's going to be LeBron James with a bunch of people who don't want to be with LeBron James. So there's been pictures coming out from the Pacers game where LeBron's sitting at the end and there's like 4 empty seats
Yeah.
and then just all the players are just stacked right there.
Well, didn't they have a terrible game? Like,
Oh,
did they lose by like 50?
They lost by. It was LeBron James' worst loss of 42 points.
Yeah. And he went out and bragged about how he did well.
Well, he bragged that he reached 32,000 points.
Yeah.
He's the 5th player to ever do it.
But right after you had the worst loss of your career, it just looks bad as a team. So I'm sure like the guys on the Lakers don't like LeBron.
I would not see. I think LeBron's great, but yeah, I think he is difficult. I think unless he wants you to be there, it would be difficult to play with him.
He's a fucking alcoholic. You see him drinking wine, like he has to drink wine wherever he goes. You see him on the bench the other day, like in a bottle, drinking wine.
Dude, he's allowed. He's LeBron James.
Why can't you go a couple hours without wine? He
Dude,
walks into the stadium with
you realize
wine.
he probably does that shit just so that way people will talk
He
about
gives
it.
his kids wine. He's a fucking alcoholic.
Lucas, have you ever underage drank right now?
Barely.
Barely, Lucas. That's a lie right there. Lucas, have your parents never said to you, "Here, have a sip of this. Have a sip of this beer"?
Not really.
Your dad never.
My
was
parents
like,
weren't much drinkers.
Okay, I guess many times my dad's been like, "Here, try this beer."
I'm just saying, if I was a gazillionaire like LeBron, I was the best athlete in the NBA, I wouldn't be drinking wine on the bench. That's just a bad look.
Dude, he just does that shit just so
It's
people talk
fucked
about
up.
it. Because guess what? He can do it, and no one else can.
It's still wild.
Dude, he's LeBron James, man. Don't bring your barstool hatred in here. El Presidente, you cuck. I said it, Lucas. I said it.
All right, next topic.
All right, Lucas. Let's talk about this BR that you haven't played. The only BR you haven't played, and that's Apex Legends.
Right.
Just came out. It's by the creators. I'm pretty sure it's Respawn, I want to say.
Yep.
The creators of Titanfall 1, 2. They came out with the BR. It's a free BR. It's on PlayStation, Xbox, PC. It's a new thing. If you literally go into Twitch, everyone's playing it because everyone's sponsored by them right now. Lucas, you've seen it. We have not played it yet. Me and Lucas have not played it. We'll probably play it this weekend, I would imagine. So maybe next podcast we'll have more personal experience. But you've seen a bunch of people play it. What's your thoughts? What's your looks on it?
So I really haven't seen like a whole lot. I've seen enough to know that I want to try it out, but I don't know. It came out of nowhere. Like all of a sudden, people are like, "Oh, there's gonna be a Titanfall BR." So I'm like, "Okay, so maybe you have to have Titanfall 2, and they'll update it. You have to update it on live." So I'm like, "Okay, I'm not gonna play that because I don't have Titanfall."
And you're
Then
not gonna
all of a
buy it.
sudden, it's this brand new BR. Like it's its own thing. It's not related to Titanfall at all. Besides the makers. It looks good. Like it looks pretty polished for being a free BR. Like the graphics look fine. The mechanics look pretty good. There's some cool elements. I forget how there's like 8 characters or something. They all have different abilities, different ultimates. That's what they're called.
Yeah, I understand.
One of them's like legit, like Winston. Like you just drop a bubble shield.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's interesting. It's completely unique. There's not a single BR like it. It's only teams of 3. You can't do solos, duos, or squads of 4. It's only teams of 3. Same with any other team-based game. You have to like pick your team based off of their abilities and what works well together to go against other enemies. But you don't know what the other enemies are going to be because there's several squads. I don't know how many people are in the, like one
I'm
map.
not sure. Yeah.
I don't know. It looks interesting. It's different.
See, it's definitely different in the sense that it from other BRs. Like if you look at the big BRs like PUBG, Fortnite, Blackout. Trying to think of any other ones.
That's pretty much it.
It's different because there is classes, which I think is cool. It's definitely a different aspect to it. The different characters definitely allow you to do different things. Like I think there's one that gives you like a portal where you can just like you and your teammates can just portal back and forth.
Yeah.
I know one has like zip lines that you can like shoot back and forth.
One
And
has zip line. One dude has like smoke grenades, and the other has like an airstrike. You drop in like missiles. Another one has you can. What the fuck was it? You can see through things, like you see through smoke. Yeah, it's a bunch of different kinds.
So I think that's cool. The gameplay, the art style kind of reminded me of Blackout, like the graphics a bit.
I think it looks more like Titanfall.
Well, I wonder why.
It doesn't look that much like Blackout.
See, I think like the map totally different from Blackout, but like graphic wise, like in the sense that it's real, but it's real looking, but it's not real looking.
Yeah, like cartoony.
It's
kinda.
like a realistic cartoony. Yeah, like PUBG tries to go more realistic.
Yeah.
Fortnite is straight cartoony. It's in that in between range that I think Blackout lands on, where it's kind of that in between. The gunplay, like I was watching Doc shoot I think it was like a single rifle, like a single shot rifle, and it just seemed like the bullets like really curved a lot, and like it didn't seem like it was a very reliable shot. I don't know. It's just
I don't know.
I want to get some hands on it.
Yeah, I'm excited to check it out. I might even play it today. I don't know.
I think the fact that it's also free really helps because
for sure.
if it's free, anyone can try. Like if this game cost $20, I probably wouldn't buy it.
Me either.
I would be like, no, I don't need to.
One other reason why I want to try it is it actually looks good.
Mhm.
Like when PUBG came out, it didn't look good at all.
No.
Like it makes you want to try it because it actually looks done. Like it looks like a legit AAA game.
Well, so I wonder, since there isn't going to be Titanfall 3, which you've never played Titanfall 2.
I've
Have
never
you
played
played
one.
Titanfall 1?
I never played any of them.
They're very, like, for how bad of a name they are, they're actually pretty decent games. They just have a really bad rap because of when they came out and stuff like that. It's just one of those franchises that kind of was screwed from the beginning. But, like, Titanfall 2 plays extremely well. Like, the game plays extremely well. It feels really good. Like, you can transition. It's like you go from thing to thing. And so I could see how if you put that engine with a BR, it would play fantastic. And so what I think EA or whoever made the game, what was the name again?
Respawn.
Maybe EA told them like, hey, you can't make a Titanfall 3, but you can make a BR game. Use the same engine and everything. Just make it a free BR game, and we're gonna try to Fortnite it.
Yeah.
Where we're gonna have a free game. It's all cosmetics. People can spend money on cosmetics and stuff like that, and that'll be about it. And so on and so forth.
I think it is crazy though. It just came out of nowhere. Like
There was like
nothing
you said,
about it.
There was rumors of it, and then boom. Which I think that was also their plan.
I like
Don't
it,
say
though.
anything about it, and then out of nowhere, we're gonna get a bunch of Twitch players to play it, and it's gonna be everywhere because, like, if they would have announced 4 months ago, oh, we have this new Apex Legends, the next BR.
Yeah,
everyone would have
it's
been
just
like,
gonna
oh,
get shit on.
yeah, everyone would have been like, fuck this. Like, who wants another BR? But now that it's like, hey, here's this polished game that just came out. Hey, streamers, play this for a week. We'll pay you to play it for a week, and we'll see where it goes from there.
And it works. I think they got 1 million plays in the first couple hours.
Yeah, and it worked for that kind of game because it couldn't have came out and actually. I think if it would have came out like a normal AAA game, like, hey, look at this big, all these advertisements, I think it would have flopped.
Yeah.
But now the other thing that I'm curious about is, so EA was behind this BR. Battlefield 5, its BR is supposed to be coming out. So is there going to be this oversaturation of BRs where it's just, and I mean, not BRs in the sense that, like, obviously, like, right now there's probably hundreds of BRs, but I mean, like, legit AAA BRs, like PUBG, Fortnite, Blackout.
I don't even think
Apex.
PUBG's AAA. I think it's just the most popular because it's like the OG.
I mean, I guess I mean AAA in the sense of market share. We'll go market share. So between PUBG, Fortnite, Blackout, this Apex, and then you throw in a Battlefield 5 BR, that's a lot of BRs.
Yeah, PUBG's ran its course. I know they just came out with the snow map. It's a good map. It's different. But people just don't like PUBG because they've experienced Fortnite. Even Fortnite's kind of slow, but they've experienced the speed of Blackout, and now Apex looks like a fast-paced BR. So people don't really want a slower BR anymore. And I feel like Battlefield 5 is going to play like PUBG because Battlefield 5 is always huge maps, like realistic, slow playing, and their BR has to be like that. They're not going to completely change who they are to make a BR. BRs are fun.
Yeah,
Like,
I think I can get burned out on them, but I think they are fun. Yes,
and
for
I
what
think
they are.
the reason why we got burned out is because we played PUBG for so long, and PUBG wasn't a polished game. So we played a shitty game for so long. Now that we don't even want to try polished games.
Yeah, I mean, I just
And
think
that's
it's one of
part
those
the
things
factor,
where
too.
Where like I know Chance doesn't like BR games anymore. He's burnt out on them. And I know like I'll go through phases where it's like I'll play a BR, like I'll play Blackout with you, and stuff like that. But sometimes it's I can't play Blackout every day. Like I couldn't play a BR every day.
Yeah, but I don't even think that's the BR. I think it's just the game. Like if it was, like you can't. I'm trying to think of how to word this. Like you don't hate it because it's a BR. You just don't like the game.
Yeah, I guess like you could go with that. Yeah,
like I love like I got a chicken dinner last night on PUBG. Greatest feeling, like out surviving like 100 people. It's still fun. It's a good goal to achieve, but I hate Call of Duty Black Ops so much just because of the way the game plays and how the game is and some of the functions. It's not because it's a BR. It's just the game. Okay. So I think if there are well-made BRs, like Apex looks like it has a lot of potential. I've heard a single bad thing about it.
Well, whenever all the Twitch streamers are being paid right now by Apex.
I mean, Tim was saying this morning, like he was like legit saying like this is not an ad. Like I'm legit having fun playing this game.
Oh, I can believe it, and I'm sure. But I mean, the other thing is Tim has been playing Fortnite,
right?
For how long? I think it could be one of those things where Apex is coming out at the right time, where streamers are starting to get kind of sick and tired of Fortnite, and a lot of streamers / influencers, if you can get in there right at the perfect time, and now all these influencers are going to be playing, you know, this Apex game as opposed to Fortnite. Fortnite's still going to be popular regardless.
Yeah.
But you know, if you have kids playing Apex instead, you know,
I'm sure there are gonna be bugs and more. I remember when Blackout came out, I thought it was the best game ever. Like this game's perfect. Like this is a perfect BR.
And now look at
Give it a week and I didn't want to play it again. So I'm sure this game's gonna have flaws. They're gonna fix it. But if you just maintain a good BR, I think BRs are fine.
Mm. Now, I will say this though. I actually think I had the most fun playing PUBG out of all the BRs. PUBG for sure.
Yeah, we played. I was looking at my stats earlier. I think I had 496 hours on PUBG
I can believe
in
it.
1 year.
And you play. I mean, you played the shit out. I didn't play it as much as you, but because I only played it. You played a lot of solos. I barely ever played solos.
And we were good at it. Like we won chicken dinners like at least every other day.
I don't know, like
a couple
PUBG
times a day.
I don't know, like for some reason, like a PUBG kill is the most satisfying kill in any BR.
Yeah, because it's hard as fuck.
I've ever had. Like Blackout, like if I get a kill, it's just like, yeah, I got a kill. Like I don't feel like
because there's no skill.
Yeah,
the way I think of Blackout is it's like coin flip.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't matter what gun you have. It's a random RNG on who dies, and that's bullshit. Like PUBG, like you have to control your recoil. You got to like lean. You got to peek at the right time. You can't just run at someone with a fucking Bowie knife or run with them like the shitty like broken SMG or something like Blackout. Like PUBG is I think great game. It's just very hard to play a lot because it is slower.
I just think it's hard now because there's so many other, like before whenever it was the only BR, totally easy because it's like this is all we can play.
Yeah.
But now that there's so many other polished options on the market, yeah, I definitely think they screwed up. They should have been polishing their game as opposed to not.
Yeah, and Battlefield. I mean, I played on Xbox PUBG for the first time in a while. It looked good.
Really?
Like it looks a lot better than I expected. But Battlefield 5, it has so much potential.
I think if Battlefield 5 plays like PUBG, but with a better like PUBG, but with the Battlefield graphics and engine.
Yeah, because Call of Duty's BR is their multiplayer, but in a BR. Mm-hmm. So imagine Battlefield multiplayer in a BR.
Yeah, it'd be
phenomenal.
Yeah, it'd be great. Which I mean,
I think all eyes are on them now, especially because they're last. Because they were coming out after, obviously Fortnite was already out, after Blackout had theirs, and now this random one comes out of nowhere. So now they have even higher bar to hit. So it's going to be interesting.
We have to wait and see. We'll have to play them all, Lucas. That's the key. It's like Pokemon. You got to play them all.
Right. I do that sometimes at night. Like I'll play one game like, fuck, this game sucks. Let me try another one. Fuck, this game sucks. That's how I got to PUBG last night. I was just messing around with Fortnite. I wasn't playing. I was just like playground, like just building and shit. And I was like, all right, I kind of want to play Blackout. I tried the new sniper only mode. I tried like a normal game. I got pissed off. I'm like, fuck it. What else could ruin my day than PUBG? So I'm just gonna play PUBG, get pissed off, and I'll be done for the video games. Then I won my first game, and it was fucking.
And it was like heaven.
Lit. It was so lit. 7 kills.
I saw Doc try to go for the trifecta,
He
the
was trying
Fortnite solo win, the PUBG solo win, and then like the Blackout.
Yeah, he
solo
was trying
win.
for fucking like week. Like he's getting really good at Fortnite. I wish he kind of played more. Blackout is still a shitty game. Like he just gets the worst situations. Stream snipers are insane in Blackout because
Really?
like the PC market on Blackout's so low. Like you could be queuing for a lobby for like minutes, and that just gives so many stream snipers a chance to join into your
That'd be
lobby.
the worst then.
Yeah, and PUBG, like, and that's what I was saying. Like, he plays something like Blackout so much, you can't just jump into PUBG and expect the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a different game. It's a whole new mindset, and he doesn't like do that. So he gets pissed off and blames the game. But yeah, he's fucking wild. That's a fun challenge, though. That's a cool idea.
That's a very cool idea, especially if he pulled it off or can't.
He did it one day, but
Oh really?
yeah. But then one time he got so pissed off PUBG, he changed the checkmark box to say solo win in PUBG to uninstall PUBG. So he fucking uninstalled it and checked off his box. Like, yeah, we completed the list.
Oh my! All right, now the last little bit of video game news I just want to put out there is, article came out in GameSpot that talked about Xbox going to the Switch. The Xbox Live app going to the Switch, from what I can tell and some of the reading and listening I did, is that this isn't that you can play Xbox games on the Switch or you can't do, all this other stuff. It's literally like the Xbox app that you have on your phone, but on the Switch.
So you could probably join parties, right?
Well, see, that's the
Can
thing
you do
is,
that on your phone?
on the phone, yeah, I think you can. But like
So
the
if it's
Switch doesn't have that. Like the Switch does not have a party feature.
But you can do that. But if they have this app, then you could do that, right?
Hopefully,
In
that'd be
theory.
kind of cool if you could.
What's the point of even having the Xbox app, though? What do you look at What are you gonna look at your Xbox achievements for on Nintendo?
Well, you could. Well, see, that's the thing is that I kind of ponder this, and I'm like, what is the point of this? Unless this is just the baby step in something much bigger.
It has to be.
Because there's the Xbox Cloud X, which we talked about before on this, the
Right.
streaming thing. Imagine if that was on the Switch.
That's a good point. It has to be what it's going for.
Imagine if you could, just pull that up and boom, there you are. And I mean, this could work in the same way that if you're Nintendo, you can start selling Nintendo games on Xbox. Like that'd be huge. Could you imagine if you could play the Zelda game
Or
on an
like
Xbox One X?
Smash, like online, or
Yeah.
like Mario games.
Which clearly Xbox has a way better online setup than Nintendo does. But like imagine being able to play Smash on your Xbox on a much better console, in the sense that it just has more power, better graphic capability, way better hardware and software behind it. So I don't look at this as like, oh, it's just the app on there. I look at it as this is a baby step into something much more.
Yeah, if it's just the app that you can get on your phone right now, there's no way that's all it is, because that'd be pointless.
Well, yeah. So like I said, I think it's just a baby step. But at the same time, like I try to think about what I use the Xbox app on my phone for, and it's pretty much just like to check to see who's on. I guess maybe check messages on occasion.
Yeah, sometimes I'll look at my clips. You can look at your captures on there, which is cool. Besides that, like, you can't even do much on there. You can look at your achievements. Like, why would you want to look at that shit?
It's pretty much the Xbox dashboard on your phone.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
It has to be like a doorway to something
I
else.
think it's definitely.
There's no way that's all it's going to be.
Which that would be so awesome because PlayStation. I mean, because if you look at it, they're competing with PlayStation essentially. PlayStation had, it has the PS4 and then it has the PSP. If you're Xbox and you can say, or even if you're Nintendo and you can say, hey, we'll still be a separate company, but as Nintendo, you can go to Xbox and be like, let you be our powerhouse console, and then Xbox can be like, you can be our mobile console.
That'd be sick.
And then boom, it's perfect. Like I have both. Like that'd be sick. If I could take my Switch to me, like with me wherever I go, and then just be able to bust out PUBG or bust out,
Fallout or something.
something like that. Like
Halo.
that would be sick. Or even if it would just be streaming or something like that. Like, oh, I could stream a game to here from this console or something. That'd be awesome. So I know it was just kind of a teaser for what they announced, and more is definitely to come. So we're definitely going to keep a close eye on this because I think this is an awesome story, and I really hope something awesome comes from it. And I hope that they destroy Sony and it's only Xbox and Nintendo
Same.
Switch. Just have Mario. Imagine Mario and Master Chief crossover.
Yeah, like in the same fucking game. That'd
Could
be
you imagine?
sick.
How awesome would that be?
Like Mario wearing a Spartan armor.
Could you imagine that?
That'd be so dope.
And then you have
Or Master Chief in Smash Bros.
Imagine Master Chief, but in like, jumping on Goombas. But like instead of them like just like squishing and like popping away, it would just be like a blood pile. That's how I picture it would be, So definitely something to keep an eye on. You know what else is something to keep an eye on, Lucas?
What?
When the next podcast comes out. And you know how you do that? Subscribe to our YouTube. Subscribe to our Google Play, our Spotify. Thanks for listening to episode 25. We appreciate it. We're man down.
Shrek should be back next week.
Shrek should hopefully be back unless
with a nice tan.
Unless he stays in Los Angeles. Hopefully he brings back a good story or two. Thanks for listening to us. I hope we were able to withhold.
I thought we did solid.
I thought it was a great podcast.
Good pod.
Can't wait to have Chance back, but I thought it was a great podcast. So, until next time, we'll see you then.
See you later.